Last Monday, we traveled to Winddrift Kennels in an attempt to see how they care for the 110 dogs that live there after a viewer sent a video showing what advocates say are deplorable living conditions. Now, we've made multiple attempts for comment from the owners of the kennel, but they did not return our calls or our emails. But tonight, we take you inside the kennel through a documentary called Sled Dogs that was shot there last year and shows the living conditions of the dogs at Winddrift and other kennels across North America. A warning now, the videos you're about to see may be disturbing.
I try to give my dogs a good quality of life.
That's Gina Pierce from Winddrift. CCI Entertainment followed the owner and her pups over several months.
It's very important that my dogs are happy.
I think you've got it. Jackie just said to me, she thinks that one of the dogs is sick or dying or something. Oh my God.
Which one?
Not today!
No! No! Yeah, he's passed away.
Arnie Persky was one of the forces behind the documentary and says they weren't there to capture the company in a bad light. But once they got there and elsewhere, they say they saw a lot of sadness and what appeared to be cruelty.
We filmed puppies being trained to pull a sled. So what they do is, from a very young age, from 6 months, they start pulling the dog and they put a chain around the dog's neck attached to a weight because they want the dog to get used to having to pull weight. And they're really too young, like physiologically, they're not developed enough to be pulling a weight.
The couple reported their findings, complete with pictures, to the OSPCA last September. Emails obtained by City News show that the Cruelty Prevention Agency was aware of the situation at Winddrift and elsewhere, but they would not confirm if an investigation was launched or if the site was even inspected. OSPCA spokesperson Melissa Kosovan wrote in a statement to City News, "We have the capacity to address concerns about working dog operations, such as the sled dog operator in question. We do not, however, divulge the results of past investigations." She also wouldn't tell us if the owners have been charged in the past or had orders issued against them, only that they haven't been convicted of an offense. Viewers who watched the video we aired had concerns over the conditions the dogs were living in, but chaining the dogs all day, every day, and confining them to spaces littered with feces and urine isn't exactly illegal, and it isn't unique to Winddrift either.
You can imagine 200-300 dogs tied, tethered, 24/7 to a pole, and they're literally running in circles. And this is going on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Tethering like that is completely legal in Ontario and in most of North America, despite disapproval from the Canadian Veterinarian Medical Association, which writes in its code for kennels that tethering of dogs as a primary method of confinement is not acceptable. Arnie says the laws need to change to better protect man's best friends.
In Whistler, after the Winter Olympics, when business slowed down, you had to cut your overhead. So in the commercial dog sled industry, when you cut your overhead, that means get rid of the dogs. It's perfectly legal in this country to kill your dog.
We asked the Minister of Community Safety if there were plans to introduce best practices for sled dogs. She ignored our question, instead offering, "Currently, we are reviewing the existing model to ensure we continue improving and protecting our animals from abuse and mistreatment." Toronto Adventures, a company that coordinated dog sled adventures through Winddrift, has officially ended its relationship with the kennel.